In the village of Kafuri, Amira woke up early every morning to the sound of birds singing and the soft rustle of leaves in the wind. The village was small but lively, with children running through narrow paths, women carrying baskets of vegetables on their heads, and men preparing for the day's work in the fields. Amira had always loved the quiet rhythm of village life. She moved through the streets with a gentle smile, greeting everyone she met. She helped the elders carry water from the well, played with children when they ran past her house, and always made sure that no one felt alone. Everyone in Kafuri knew her as a kind and cheerful soul. Her heart was full of love for others, but deep inside, Amira felt a quiet longing for something more. She often wondered if she would ever meet someone who truly understood her heart. The days passed with simple routines. Amira would wake up at sunrise, sweep the small yard in front of her house, help her mother with breakfast, and then walk to the market to help the villagers sell their fruits and vegetables. Even in these busy days, her mind often wandered to the idea of love. She would see couples walking hand in hand along the river, laughing and talking, and a gentle warmth would fill her heart. She wanted to feel that too, but no one in the village had yet captured her attention in a way that made her heart beat faster. She knew that when the right person came, she would recognize them immediately, even if their life was very different from hers. One day, the news came to Kafuri that the annual harvest festival was near. The festival was the most important event of the year. People from all over the village gathered to celebrate the end of the farming season. There would be music, dancing, food, and games. Everyone in the village looked forward to it, and Amira felt a special excitement this year, though she could not say why. She spent the morning helping her mother prepare food for the festival. They made steaming bowls of yam porridge, grilled fish, and freshly baked bread. Amira tied her hair neatly, put on her favorite dress, and felt a small flutter of hope in her heart, as if something new and unexpected was about to happen. During the festival, the village square was alive with laughter, music, and color. Children ran around carrying small flags, and women danced to the rhythm of drums. Men laughed and shared stories as they drank palm wine under the shade of big trees. Amira moved carefully through the crowd, helping where she could, greeting people, and sharing in the joy of the festival. It was then that she noticed a young man standing near the edge of the square, looking around as if he were seeing the village for the first time. His eyes were bright, and his smile was gentle. He had a calm presence that seemed different from everyone else. Amira could not take her eyes off him for a moment. There was something about him that drew her attention, something she could not explain. The young man's name was Tay. He had returned from the city to visit his family after several years of studying there. Tay had learned many things in the city, but he had never forgotten the simplicity and beauty of village life. When he saw Amira, he felt a sudden warmth. She was smiling, helping an elderly woman carry a basket of yams, and her laughter sounded like music to his ears. He felt an immediate curiosity about her. Who was she? Why did she seem so full of light? Tay took a deep breath, gathered his courage, and walked toward her. As he approached, Amira looked up and their eyes met. In that moment, something unspoken passed between them, a connection, gentle but unmistakable. Tay greeted her with a warm smile. "Hello, I am Tay," he said. His voice was calm and kind, carrying a softness that made Amira feel comfortable immediately. She smiled back. "Hello, I am Amira," she replied, her heart beating a little faster than usual. They shook hands, and it felt like more than a simple greeting. It felt like the beginning of a story neither of them knew yet. Tay asked her about the festival and the village, and Amira spoke openly, telling him about the celebrations, the games, and the harvest. She spoke with passion and warmth, and Tay listened carefully, genuinely interested in every word. It was easy to talk to him, and Amira found herself laughing and sharing things she had never told anyone else. They walked together through the village square, stopping to watch the children play traditional games, and joining a small group of women dancing around a fire. Tay tried his best to follow their steps, stumbling a little, which made Amira laugh. Her laughter was light and free, and Tay felt as though he had heard the most beautiful sound in the world. They shared stories about their lives, their dreams, and their hopes for the future. Tay spoke about the city, about the things he had learned, and about his desire to one day help his village grow and prosper. Amira shared her love for her people and her dream of making life better for everyone in Kafuri. With every word, they discovered similarities, differences, and a mutual admiration that grew with each passing moment. As the sun began to set, painting the sky in shades of gold and orange. The villagers gathered to watch the final performance of the festival. Drummers played lively rhythms, and dancers moved gracefully, their feet kicking up dust from the ground. Amira and Tay stood together, watching in silence for a while, feeling the warmth of the evening air and the gentle pulse of the music. They did not need many words. The quiet moments said more than any conversation could. Tay looked at Amira and thought about how much he admired her courage, kindness, and gentle nature. Amira looked at Tay and felt a spark she had never felt before, a sense of safety, curiosity, and the possibility of something wonderful beginning. By nightfall, lanterns lit up the village square, casting soft shadows on the smiling faces of the villagers. Amira felt a happiness she had never known, a joy that went beyond the festival and beyond her usual daily life. She realized that Tay had touched something deep in her heart, a part that had been quiet and lonely for so long. Tay, too, felt a new feeling of hope and excitement. The day had been simple, filled with ordinary village joys, yet it had become extraordinary because they had found each other. They promised to meet again the next day, walking together toward a small hill overlooking the village where they could talk and share more stories. Even as they parted for the night, the villagers whispered among themselves, noticing the spark between the two. Many believed it was the beginning of something special. Amira returned home, her heart light, thinking about Tay's laughter and the kindness in his eyes. She felt a quiet excitement and a sense of destiny, as though life had just begun to open a new chapter for her. Tay, meanwhile, could not stop thinking about Amira. He felt that he had met someone who understood him in a way no one else ever had. He walked through the quiet streets of the village, feeling that this meeting was the start of a journey that neither of them could yet fully understand, but both were ready to embrace. The next morning, the sun rose over Kafuri, and life returned to its usual rhythm. Yet for Amira and Tay, everything had changed. Their hearts were lighter, their smiles brighter, and a new sense of hope filled every thought. They had met by chance at a festival, but the bond they had formed promised something more, something deep, meaningful, and full of possibilities. It was the beginning of a story that would shape their lives forever, a story that would be told in the village for many years to come. And in that quiet, simple village, under the soft morning light, two hearts began to beat together for the very first time. Weeks passed quietly in Kafuri, and life seemed to carry on in its usual rhythm. Amira went about her daily chores, waking early to help her mother fetch water, tending to the small garden behind their house, and sharing food with neighbors who needed a little extra. Yet, her thoughts often drifted to Tay. Every morning, as she walked through the village, she imagined him smiling and laughing, remembering the way he had stumbled slightly while dancing at the harvest festival. She remembered how his eyes had held a gentle warmth that made her feel safe and happy at the same time. She realized that in just a few days, her life had been touched in a way that nothing else could match. One evening, Tay came to visit her at the edge of the village. He looked serious, his eyes filled with both excitement and worry. "Amira," he said softly, taking her hand in his, "I have something important to tell you. I need to go back to the city soon to finish my studies. It will take many months, maybe even a year, before I can come back for good." His voice trembled slightly, and Amira felt a heavy ache in her chest. Her heart sank, but she did not show fear. She smiled gently at him, trying to hide the worry she felt inside. "I understand, Tay," she said. "Your dreams are important. You must finish your studies. I will wait for you. I believe in you." She squeezed his hand, letting him feel the warmth of her support. Tay smiled, though it was tinged with sadness. "You are very brave, Amira. I do not know anyone like you. I wish I could stay, but I must go." The next day, Tay left the village. Amira stood at the edge of the path, watching the dust rise behind him as he walked away. Her chest felt heavy, and a deep ache settled in her heart. She missed him instantly, and even though she told herself she would wait, the days felt longer, and the nights colder without him. She would sit by the river, staring at the flowing water, thinking about him. She would imagine his voice calling her name, his laughter echoing in the village square. But most of all, she wondered how long it would take for him to return, and if he would even remember her during his long stay in the city. Back in the village, whispers began to circulate. People had noticed the closeness between Amira and Tay during the festival. Some villagers thought their love was sweet and innocent, but others questioned it. A few relatives approached Amira, shaking their heads. "Why are you so attached to someone who does not live here?" they asked. "He is far away. You should think carefully about your life. What if he forgets you? What if his heart changes?" Amira listened quietly, feeling the weight of their words, but she refused to let them sway her heart. She knew what she felt for Tay was real, and she believed in the bond they had formed. Despite the whispers, Amira continued her daily routine, tending to the garden, helping her mother, and assisting the villagers. Yet, the longing in her heart grew stronger each day. She missed Tay more than words could describe. She would visit the old oak tree near the river where they had first talked during the festival, imagining him sitting beside her, sharing his dreams. She remembered the way his eyes had lit up when he spoke about helping the village grow. She remembered his laughter, his gentle voice, and the small ways he had made her feel important and seen. The memory of him brought both happiness and a sharp ache that she could not shake. One afternoon, Amira decided she could not remain passive. She wanted Tay to know how much she cared, how far she would go to support him. She thought deeply about what she could do, and after many nights of contemplation, she made a bold decision. She would show him that love was not just about waiting or speaking kind words, it was about action, courage, and sacrifice. She would find a way to go to him, to be near him, and to help him through his studies, even if it meant leaving everything she knew behind. The next few days were filled with preparations. Amira spoke to her mother cautiously, explaining her intentions in careful words. "Mother, I want to go to the city. I want to be there for Tay while he studies. I want to help him, and I want him to know that I believe in him." Her mother looked at her with wide eyes, worried and afraid. "Amira, that is a long journey, and life in the city is not easy. Are you sure you are ready? You would leave your family, your home, and everything familiar." Amira nodded firmly. "I am ready, Mother. This is what my heart tells me. I must do this." Word began to spread slowly in the village about Amira's plan. Some villagers were surprised, some were impressed, and others were skeptical. "She is very brave," said one elder. "Not many would leave their home for love. But love is strong when it asks for courage, and Amira has that courage in her heart." As the day of her departure drew near, Amira felt a mix of excitement and nervousness. She packed her small bag with clothes, a few coins, and some food to sustain her journey. She walked through the village, saying goodbye to neighbors and friends. Children ran to her, holding her hands and whispering wishes for her safety. Elders blessed her with gentle words, telling her to be wise and patient. Amira smiled at everyone, feeling their love and support. She knew she was taking a risk, but her heart told her it was worth it. Finally, the morning arrived when Amira had to leave. She stood at the edge of the village path, looking back at the houses she had grown up in, the field she had tended, and the river where she had spent so many quiet hours. She took a deep breath, feeling the sun warm her face, and stepped forward. She walked with determination, each step carrying her closer to the city and closer to Tay. With every mile, she imagined his face, his laughter, and the kindness in his eyes. She whispered to herself, "I will show him. I will show him how strong my love is." As she traveled, she faced challenges she had not expected. The roads were long and dusty, and the sun often beat down relentlessly. She had to cross streams and walk past fields where wild animals sometimes roamed. She felt tired, but the thought of Tay kept her moving forward. She imagined the smile on his face when he saw her, the surprise in his eyes, and the warmth of his hand holding hers again. With each step, her determination grew stronger. By the time she reached the outskirts of the city, the sun was setting, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink. The city was large and bustling, very different from the quiet village she had left behind. She paused for a moment, taking in the sight of tall buildings, crowded streets, and the hum of activity. Though it was overwhelming, she did not hesitate. She reminded herself of her purpose, to show Tay how much she loved him and to be there for him, no matter the obstacles. That evening, she found a small place to rest for the night. She thought about the journey she had undertaken, about the courage it had required, and about the love that had pushed her forward. She knew it would not be easy, but she felt ready for the challenges ahead. She whispered to the stars above, "I am coming, Tay. I am coming to show you my heart." The villagers of Kafuri could never have imagined the lengths Amira would go for love. Her story was becoming one of courage, determination, and boldness. Love had given her strength she did not know she had, and she was ready to face anything to prove it. And in that quiet moment, beneath the glow of the city lights, Amira felt hope blossom in her heart. She knew that no matter what difficulties lay ahead, her love for Tay would guide her, protect her, and inspire her every step of the way. Amira stepped off the bus into the busy streets of the city, her heart pounding with excitement and nervousness. The city was nothing like Kafuri. The streets were filled with people rushing in every direction. Cars honked, vendors shouted, and bright signs flashed from tall buildings. Amira felt a little afraid at first, but she reminded herself why she had come. She was here for Tay, to show him how much she cared, to support him through his studies, and to be a part of his life, even in this strange, loud place. Finding Tay was easy because he had sent word about where he was staying. When she saw him waiting near the small apartment building, she ran toward him. "Amira," Tay called, his face lighting up with joy. He held her hands tightly, as if he never wanted to let go. "I cannot believe you came," he said, almost laughing with relief. Amira smiled and simply nodded, feeling the warmth of his embrace. "I promised you I would be here," she said softly. "And I am." Life in the city was difficult, far more difficult than Amira had imagined. The apartment was small and plain, with a single room for both of them and a tiny kitchen that barely had enough space for cooking. Money was tight, and Amira quickly realized that she needed to work if they were going to live comfortably. She took a small job at a local market, helping shopkeepers arrange goods and clean the stalls. She also cleaned houses in the neighborhood during the evenings. She woke up early, sometimes before the sun rose, and returned home late, her feet aching and her hands tired. At first, Tay did not realize how much she was struggling. He was busy attending classes, studying for exams, and completing assignments. Amira did not complain, though. She cooked the meals he liked, made sure the apartment was tidy, and encouraged him whenever he felt tired or discouraged. "You are doing so well," she would tell him, smiling as she handed him a plate of food. "Keep going. I believe in you." Tay began to notice her dedication after a few weeks. He watched her rise before dawn, work all day, and return with a tired smile, yet still managed to greet him warmly and cheer him on. He felt a deep gratitude and admiration for her, realizing that her love was more than words. It was her actions, her presence, and her sacrifices. The days turned into weeks, and the weeks into months. Amira grew stronger in ways she had never expected. She learned to navigate the crowded streets, bargain with vendors, and even cook new dishes to save money. She faced exhaustion, hunger, and loneliness, but she never let it show. Every hardship reminded her why she had chosen this path: to be there for Tay, to make his dreams possible, and to prove that love could overcome distance, hardship, and fear. Even when she was tired beyond measure, Amira found time to listen to Tay talk about his classes, his teachers, and his dreams for the future. She cheered when he passed difficult exams, and she comforted him when he failed at something. She learned the names of his friends and joined him in small moments of laughter and joy, making the apartment feel like home despite its small size and the city's chaos outside. Some nights, when the city was quiet and Tay had fallen asleep after studying, Amira would sit by the window, looking out at the city lights. She would think about Kafuri, the soft green fields, the river, and the quiet rhythm of the village. She missed her family, her friends, and the simple life she had left behind. Sometimes, tears would slip down her cheeks, but she wiped them away quickly. She reminded herself that this was her choice, her sacrifice for love, and that every hard moment brought her closer to Tay and their shared future. Her friends from the village occasionally sent letters and small gifts, reminding her that she was loved and missed back home. Amira treasured these messages, but her heart belonged to Tay. She would tell herself, "I am here for him. I am here because I love him. Every day I work, every small step I take, it is for us." The words gave her strength to continue, even when the city felt overwhelming, and even when exhaustion weighed heavily on her shoulders. Tay began to understand the full depth of her sacrifice when he saw how much she had changed her life for him. One evening, he returned from school to find her cooking a simple meal after working 12 hours. He looked at her with wide eyes, taking in the tired lines on her face, the worn clothes, and the gentle determination in her movements. "Amira," he said softly, "I did not realize how much you do for me. You work so hard, and yet you never complain. You are amazing." Amira smiled, shaking her head lightly. "It is nothing," she said. I am happy to do it. I am happy to be here for you." That night, Tay could not sleep. He thought about all the ways she had changed her life to support him. He remembered the long hours she worked, the sacrifices she had made, and the endless patience she had shown. His heart ached with gratitude and love. He knew that he could never take her presence for granted. He promised himself that he would work harder, not only for his studies but to make their life together better, to honor the love she had shown him through action, not just words. Amira continued her daily routine without complaint. She woke early, worked all day, returned home to prepare meals, and encouraged Tay through his studies. Even when she felt lonely, she reminded herself of the reason she had come to the city. Every plate of food she cooked, every room she cleaned, and every word of encouragement she spoke carried the message, "I love you, Tay. I am here for you, always." Her life in the city taught her lessons she had never learned in the village. She learned patience, endurance, and the quiet power of consistent effort. She discovered that love was not always grand gestures or romantic words. Sometimes, love was waking up before dawn to make someone's day easier, staying up late to help them, and giving silently without expecting anything in return. Every small act she performed strengthened her heart and deepened her connection with Tay. Months passed, and Tay began to notice the changes in both their lives. He worked harder in school, inspired by Amira's sacrifices. He spoke to her more openly about his feelings and dreams, wanting to share every detail of his life with her. He began to cook simple meals for her sometimes, tried to help with cleaning, and offered small gestures of kindness, though he knew he could never fully repay what she had done for him. Amira felt proud, not because she expected anything in return, but because she had proven to herself that love could endure hardships. She had left her home, faced the city's challenges, and endured exhaustion and loneliness, all to be with Tay and support him. Her sacrifice was her gift, silent but powerful, showing that love was more than words, it was action, courage, and commitment. Even in the toughest moments, Amira never regretted her choice. She knew that true love required sacrifice, and she had embraced it fully. She often whispered to herself late at night, "I came here for love. I came here to be strong. I am doing this because I believe in him and I believe in us." The words comforted her and kept her moving forward, reminding her that her efforts were not in vain. And so, life continued. Amira worked tirelessly, endured the challenges of city life, and supported Tay through every difficulty. Her love became a quiet force, unspoken but deeply felt. Through her sacrifice, she proved that love was not just about feelings, it was about actions, persistence, and courage. Every small meal cooked, every room cleaned, and every word of encouragement built a foundation that could withstand any challenge. In the city, far from the quiet fields of Kafuri, Amira's heart remained steadfast. She had left home for love, and every hardship she faced only made her love stronger. She knew that one day, Tay would understand fully the depth of her sacrifice, and together, they would create a life filled with love, respect, and shared dreams. Months passed, and the city life began to weigh heavily on Amira. She woke every morning with a sense of duty, worked long hours at the market, and then continued to clean houses, cook meals, and support Tay with his studies. Her body ached from exhaustion, and her mind sometimes felt clouded with worry. Despite her fatigue, she never complained. She reminded herself that she had made a choice for love, and every challenge was a part of proving that love could endure anything. Tay, absorbed in his schoolwork, had little time to notice the strain Amira faced. He studied late into the night, attended lectures during the day, and participated in group projects and city events. He appreciated her presence, of course, and thanked her for the meals she cooked and the clean apartment she maintained. But he did not fully understand the sacrifices she made daily, waking before dawn, working 12 hours, and returning home to help him study and stay motivated. Amira rarely spoke about how tired she felt or how lonely the city sometimes made her. She did not want Tay to worry, and she wanted him to focus on his education without feeling guilty. Some nights, Amira would sit quietly on the balcony, watching the city lights blink in the distance. She would close her eyes and imagine Kafuri's peaceful rivers, the laughter of children running through green fields, and the soft rustling of leaves in the wind. Those memories gave her comfort, but they also reminded her of what she had left behind. Her family, her friends, and the simplicity of village life seemed far away, almost like a dream. She missed her mother's gentle voice and the familiar rhythm of daily life in Kafuri, but she reminded herself that she had chosen this path for love. One particularly exhausting week, Amira felt her energy waning. She woke before sunrise to prepare breakfast for Tay, hurried to the market, and spent the entire day arranging goods and cleaning. By evening, her legs trembled from fatigue, and her hands were raw from constant work. She returned home, cooked a simple dinner, and encouraged Tay as he studied for his exams. But that night, her body finally gave in. A sudden fever overcame her, and she collapsed on the small sofa in the apartment, too weak to stand. Tay came rushing home after his evening class, carrying his books and backpack. When he opened the door, he froze. Amira lay on the sofa, pale and shivering, her small frame trembling under the thin blanket she had wrapped around herself. Fear gripped his heart. "Amira!" he shouted, dropping his backpack and kneeling beside her. He held her hand, feeling her skin hot with fever, and panic filled his chest. "Why didn't you tell me you were this tired? Why didn't you rest?" Amira tried to smile, but her strength was gone. "I didn't want you to worry," she whispered, her voice weak. "I just wanted to help you, to be here for you." Her words trailed off, and tears gathered in Tay's eyes. For the first time, he saw the full depth of her sacrifices, the long hours, the fatigue, the endless effort she had quietly endured for him. Tay sat beside her, holding her hands tightly. He could not speak for a long time, overwhelmed by guilt, gratitude, and love all at once. He realized that while he had been focused on his own goals, Amira had been giving everything she had to support him. He thought about the time she had woken early, the meal she had cooked, the hours she had spent cleaning and organizing, and the patience she had shown him when he was tired or stressed. Each act of her love weighed heavily on his heart now that he truly understood it. Tears streamed down Tay's face as he leaned closer to her. "Amira, I never realized how much you've given," he whispered, his voice trembling. "All this time, I thought I was doing everything, but you've done more than I could ever imagine. I promise I will never take your love for granted. I will work harder, I will care more, and I will make sure you are never this tired again." Amira smiled weakly, feeling the warmth of his hand holding hers. She had given everything silently, expecting nothing in return, but hearing his words made her heart soar. She realized that love was not only about giving but also about being seen, being understood, and having that effort acknowledged. For the first time, she felt the weight on her shoulders ease, even if only slightly. Over the next few days, Tay took responsibility for their shared life in the city. He cooked meals, cleaned the apartment, and encouraged Amira to rest. He sat with her when she was weak, massaged her tired hands and feet, and made sure she drank enough water and ate properly. He even rearranged his schedule to allow more time to be with her. Amira watched him quietly, feeling both pride and relief. She realized that her sacrifices had not been in vain. They had strengthened their bond and opened Tay's eyes to the true meaning of love. As Amira recovered from her illness, the two spent long evenings talking quietly, sharing dreams, fears, and hopes. Tay told her about his plans for after school, about how he wanted to help their village grow, and about the small ways he wanted to make life better for both of them. Amira listened with a calm smile, offering her advice and encouragement. She felt stronger now, not just because her body was healing, but because Tay had seen her effort, understood her dedication, and promised to honor it. The experience changed their relationship profoundly. Tay learned humility, patience, and gratitude, while Amira learned that sometimes love required not only sacrifice but also courage to allow others to truly see the depth of your heart. Their bond grew stronger, rooted in shared struggle, mutual respect, and understanding. No longer was it a quiet, hidden love. It was real, alive, and powerful, shaped by the challenges they had faced together. Amira continued her routine in the city, but with Tay's support, life became more balanced. She no longer carried the entire burden alone, and she felt joy in small moments, a shared meal, a gentle conversation, or a quiet evening together after a long day. Each act of kindness and care reinforced their connection, and each day brought them closer to a future they both dreamed of. Through the struggle, Amira had proven the strength of her love. Through the revelation, Tay had learned the meaning of true gratitude and commitment. Together, they discovered that love was not just words, not just feelings, but action, sacrifice, understanding, and support. It was something that grew stronger in adversity and shone brighter when shared openly. Even as life in the city remained challenging, Amira felt confident. She had made the choice to follow her heart, to endure hardships, and to love without expectation. And now, with Tay truly seeing and appreciating her, she knew that every step of her journey had been worthwhile. Love, she realized, was not easy, but when it was real, it was worth every struggle, every sleepless night, and every act of silent sacrifice. The bond between Amira and Tay became unbreakable. They laughed together, cried together, and dreamed together. They learned to face challenges as a team, each supporting the other, each acknowledging the other's effort and dedication. Through illness, exhaustion, and city hardships, they found the truth about love, that it was strongest when tested, deepest when understood, and most beautiful when shared honestly and completely. And in the quiet evenings of the city, when the lights twinkled outside the small apartment, Amira and Tay would sit hand in hand, knowing that their love had passed its first true test. They had discovered the meaning of giving, understanding, and devotion. They had learned that love could carry them through the hardest of times, and that together they could face anything the world placed before them. Months passed, and the city life gradually became more manageable for Amira and Tay. Tay's studies were reaching their final stages, and he worked harder than ever. He attended classes, completed assignments, and prepared for exams, but now he had Amira by his side in a way that made life less overwhelming. She had grown stronger, more confident, and even more patient. The struggles of the city had not broken her spirit. Instead, they had strengthened her determination and deepened the bond between them. Amira continued her daily routine, helping Tay with small tasks, preparing meals, and keeping the apartment clean. But this time, there was a sense of balance. Tay now contributed in ways he had never done before. He cooked simple meals for Amira, helped with household chores, and made sure she rested properly after her long days. He had learned from their shared hardships that love was not just about feelings or words, but about action and effort. The sacrifices Amira had made were no longer invisible to him. Each gesture she had offered was now acknowledged with gratitude and care. As the final exams approached, Tay became anxious. He wanted to make everything count, not just for himself, but for both of them. Amira sat with him for hours, helping him revise, quizzing him on subjects, and encouraging him when he felt frustrated. "You can do this, Tay," she said gently, placing her hand on his shoulder. "I know how hard you have worked. We are almost there. Just a little more." Her calm voice gave him strength, and her unwavering belief in him pushed him to do better than he ever thought possible. On the day of his last exam, Tay felt nervous, but Amira held his hand and reminded him to breathe. "No matter what happens," she said softly, "we have come so far together. Your hard work and our love will carry us forward." Tay smiled at her, feeling the truth of her words. When he finished the exam, exhausted but relieved, he hugged Amira tightly. "We did it together," he whispered. "I could not have done this without you." The weeks that followed were filled with anticipation. Tay awaited the results of his exams, and Amira continued to support him, making sure he stayed calm and confident. When the results finally arrived, Tay had passed with excellent marks. The joy they felt was overwhelming. They laughed, cried, and held each other close, celebrating the success that had been built on their shared sacrifices and efforts. Amira's heart swelled with pride, not only for Tay's achievement but for their journey together. After graduation, they made plans to return to Kafuri. The city had been a place of struggle, learning, and growth, but home was where they truly belonged. Amira packed their belongings carefully, thinking about the fields, the river, and the people who had supported her from the beginning. Tay walked beside her, holding her hand, feeling grateful for everything she had done for him. "You have given me so much," he said softly. "I will spend the rest of my life making sure you are happy and proud of what we have built together." The journey back to Kafuri was filled with excitement. As they approached the village, the familiar sights and sounds brought back memories of the harvest festival, of first meetings, and of days spent dreaming together. Villagers noticed them from a distance and began to gather along the path, curious and joyful. Word had spread that Tay and Amira were returning, and people were eager to welcome them home. When they finally entered the village square, the crowd erupted in cheers. Children ran toward them, laughing and clapping, while elders blessed them and welcomed them warmly. Friends and neighbors embraced Amira and Tay, praising their courage, dedication, and devotion. Amira felt a rush of happiness, seeing the community that had shaped her life celebrate the love that had grown between them. Tay looked around at the smiling faces, feeling proud not only of his achievements but also of the woman who had stood by him through every trial. Over the next days, the villagers shared stories of Amira's journey and the sacrifices she had made. They spoke of how she had left her home, faced the challenges of the city, and supported Tay in ways that were unseen but powerful. Mothers told their children about her courage, elders praised her patience, and friends admired her loyalty. Amira's story became an example of true love, showing that love is measured not by words or gifts, but by the willingness to give, to endure, and to support another person with all your heart. Life in Kafuri slowly returned to its peaceful rhythm, but something had changed. Amira and Tay's relationship had set an example for the village. Young couples spoke of their devotion, inspired by the love that had survived distance, hardship, and challenges. People began to see that love was not easy, but with patience, commitment, and sacrifice, it could flourish and grow stronger over time. Amira and Tay settled into a new routine together. Tay found work that allowed him to contribute to the village, using his education to help improve farming techniques and teach children basic lessons. Amira supported him in this work, organizing events, helping neighbors, and continuing to show kindness and care to everyone around her. Their love was no longer just a private matter, it had become part of the community, a living example of courage, patience, and devotion. Every evening, they would sit together by the river, remembering their journey. The quiet water reflected the sun's warm glow, and the gentle breeze carried the scent of the village fields. They talked about their dreams, laughed at small memories from the city, and made plans for the future. Amira often thought about how far they had come, from a meeting at the harvest festival to facing city hardships and returning home stronger than ever. She felt proud of every choice she had made, knowing that each step had been guided by love and faith in their bond. Tay, too, reflected on their journey. He realized that love required more than passion or attraction. It required patience, effort, understanding, and the courage to face difficulties together. He had learned that Amira's silent strength had been the foundation of their relationship, and he vowed to honor that strength every day of their lives. As time went on, their story became well known in Kafuri and even in neighboring villages. People spoke of Amira's courage, Tay's dedication, and the love that had triumphed over every challenge. Young couples often sought advice from them, asking how to build a love that could endure hardships. Amira would smile and say, "Love is not just about words. It is about what you are willing to do for the happiness and growth of the person you care about." Tay would nod, adding, "It is about patience, understanding, and being there for each other, no matter the difficulties." Through the years, Amira and Tay remained devoted to each other and to their community. They helped neighbors in need, supported young students, and celebrated every success in the village as a shared victory. Their home became a place of warmth, laughter, and kindness, reflecting the love that had been tested and strengthened over time. Amira often thought about her journey from the village to the city and back. She remembered the long walks, the hard work, the nights of worry, and the moments of doubt. Yet every challenge had been worth it because it had brought them to a love that was deep, enduring, and inspiring. She had learned that true love was not about grand gestures alone, but about the daily acts of care, support, and sacrifice that built a lasting bond. Tay looked at her one evening as the sun set over the fields, his heart full of gratitude. "You have given me everything, Amira," he said softly. "Your love, your patience, your courage. I could never repay it. But I promise to spend my life making sure we are happy together, and that your sacrifices are honored every single day." Amira smiled, leaning on his shoulder, feeling the warmth of his hand in hers. Together, they watched the golden light fade across the village, knowing that their love had truly triumphed. And so, in the quiet village of Kafuri, the story of Amira and Tay became a legend. It was a story of courage, patience, and the enduring power of love. Villagers told their children, "True love is not measured by words, but by the sacrifices one is willing to make, the patience one shows, and the dedication one gives." Amira's unwavering support and Tay's understanding became a model for the entire community, proving that love, when nurtured with effort and care, could overcome any challenge and shine brighter than ever.